Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another class. Today, we are continuing web page design. We already started it last week. So, we're going to continue on that chapter, web page design. And we're just going to briefly go over just some brief review questions. I hope you guys were taking your notes. You were making your notes. So, just some brief review question before we get started. Anyone? What is the language we use to create web pages?
HTML.
We have one HTML. Anybody else? Anybody agree? Anybody disagree?
Agreed, sir.
Agree?
I agree.
Agree? Anybody disagree?
Sir,
Yes, Juma?
didn't you say that HTML wasn't a language? It was just like instructions to make the page.
Very good observation. I said it's not a programming language. It's still a language. It's still a language, but it is not a programming language. It's not created. So, still a language. You can consider all of these as languages because it's just like how we speak. We speak English, French, Portuguese, Spanish, Mandarin. We have different ways of conveying different thoughts and expressions. It's basically the same with all of these different programming and markup languages. There are different ways of doing certain things. So that is correct. HTML is the language we use to create web page. Anybody remember what HTML stands for?
Hypertext markup.
Very good, very good. Hypertext markup language. Good. Another person who haven't answered as yet. What are the codes in the HTML language called?
Tags.
Sir, tags.
Very good, very good. Tags, good. And why do we use HTML? We had two reasons as to why we use HTML.
Share documents.
Good. One is to share documents. Anybody else? What's the other one?
And to link other
To
documents.
link other documents.
Very good. To link other documents. So you can download files, you can download movies, you can download other documents, it can take you to another page, and so on. Very good. Simple question now. What are some common examples of, or what is the name of the software we have to use to view a web page?
A browser.
Browser, very good. So now is the simple question. What are some common examples of browsers?
Firefox.
Firefox,
Chrome.
Chrome,
Internet Explorer.
Internet Explorer.
Opera.
What was that?
It's Opera, right?
Right, Opera, Opera, however you want to pronounce it.
Safari.
Safari, very good. Satoshi no Mahima is using a Mac. Good. So those are some common examples of browsers. Good. Very good. What is the name of a website or the link that takes you to a website? What's the name for that?
Sir, URL.
The URL, very good. Or there's another name or another term we could call it by. URL or
Address, sir.
address or another word in front of address.
Web
Internet
address.
address.
Internet address or web address. Either one can work. Good, very good. But it's mainly the URL, but you can also call it an address, a web address, an internet address. Also, all of that can work. Good. Anybody remembers what URL stands for? Very good, Alia. Uniform Resource Locator. Very good. Um, good. So, what was the difference between a website and a web page?
Sir, the website is like the book and the web page is the page.
Very good. So, can a website only have one web page?
No, sir.
You didn't hear that?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it can, but you can have multiple.
Good. It can. So a website can have only one web page. So it can either have one web page or it can have multiple web pages. Just like a book can have one page. If you tear out all the other pages, you can end up with one page. Still a book. Well, it depends on how persons will look at it. But website can only have one page. Yes, it can only have one page or multiple pages. But what was it? What was it? You can call pages a website, but anyway, let's not focus on that before. Good. There are some categories of websites. Anybody remember the categories?
Static website.
Static website, good. And when something is static, when the website is static, what is meant there?
It doesn't change.
Doesn't move. Very good. That's basically it. When something is static, it doesn't move. So you're only going there to read the information. Very good. What's the other examples?
Dynamic.
I heard dynamic. What is dynamic?
So when the website would change.
We're barely hearing you, Jeremiah. Or Dan.
Sure.
When
Sir, that was Daniel, but
I mean, like when the website is changeable.
Good. When the website is changeable, when the website is changing. When something is dynamic, it means it is changing. And most of the time, it's the users who are changing the content. Think, for example, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You are the ones that are changing the content on those websites. You are the ones that are adding the content to those websites. Good. And then we also have e-commerce, we have web application, editable brochure, and so on. What was the example of e-commerce website?
Amazon.
Amazon, very good.
eBay.
And what is a web application? In a nutshell?
sir, you need internet access for it to update.
Not only update, but also to function. So
Yes, sir.
it's an application, but it's all of the main resources is on the internet. So if we compare it to our phone, say this is our phone, we have an application here, then we do not need the internet. But a web application, it will require the internet. It needs connection to the internet in order to function because all of the resources are on the internet because it's much smaller than the actual application that you have installed in your phone. So it has its benefits: reduce space, reduce the amount of work on the device, but the limitation is that you need internet connection to use web applications. Good. I hope you guys were making your notes. If you haven't, I hope you took note of some of the things that we looked at last week. If you weren't in last week's class, please ensure you look over the recording. The recording is already up in your classroom. Good. So we're going to continue on the introduction to web page design. We're going to look more at what are the different types of websites and how do we plan to create a website. That's what we're going to finish off with if we reach that far. So the first paragraph we're going to look at today, we're going to have...
Sorry, I'm screen sharing. Right?
Not screen sharing?
No.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, maybe he was...
Yes? Okay.
Alright,
Yes or no?
good. Maybe when Bailey screen shared, it wasn't pinned anymore. That's why he was seeing it. Good. So, good. So we're looking at the first paragraph here. Let's have, who are we going to start with? We start at the bottom. Unique, can you read that for us?
Websites are popular because they cater to all types of audiences for education, entertainment, sports, or informational purposes. Knowing the purpose of a website therefore sets the tone for its content and organization. Creating a website that is formal or informal reflects the seriousness or carefree impression that visitors will use to decide if they will continue to browse the pages. Table 6.2 provides examples of some types of websites and their purpose.
Good. So remember, you're not only learning what is a website, what is a web page, what are the different parts, you are also learning how to design a web page, how to design a website. Now, you guys would have visited a lot of websites by now. And each website basically caters for a certain type of person. The website can be educational, it can be for entertainment, it can be for sports, it can be for information, so many other categories. Gaming, photography. They make websites for business, for shopping. They make websites for different purposes, different types of people, different types of audiences. So, because we are targeting different types of people, are we going to use the same overall design for every website? Does that make sense?
No.
No, sir.
No, that would not make sense. If you are designing something and you're targeting different types of persons, you're not going to use the same overall layout for everything. Because, say for instance, you are creating a website for children. Are you going to make your website plain like this textbook? What would you guys do? If you were making a website for children, what would you do?
Put up like pictures and stuff.
Good, use pictures. Anything else?
Bright colors.
Bright colors, good. Good. You guys get the idea. So, if you're going to target children, you're going to use pictures, you're going to use videos, you're going to use animations, you're going to use bright colors, you're going to use things to catch their attention. But if you're going to target older persons now, then you might want to hold back on the bright colors because that might be too much in their eyes. And all of the flashing images and the moving images, you might want to hold off on that also because they might not be able to keep up with all of those dynamic features of your website. So All of that comes down to planning. When you're creating a web page, when persons are making a website, they have to think about, who am I creating this website for? And most importantly, what am I creating this website for? What is the purpose of this website? Um, that's the main question you need to ask yourself. What is the purpose of this website? Is it to share information? Is it to gather people together to communicate? Is it to watch videos? Is it to watch movies? Is it to play games? Knowing what is the purpose of your website is going to determine the overall tone of your website. Should I use bright colors? Should I use dull colors? Should I use pictures? Should I use videos? And so on. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Persons following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. So 6.2 provides examples of some types of websites. Okay, so let's look at some types of websites that we have. What is the description and what are some examples of those websites? So when you read, you're going to basically read the type and go straight across. You're just reading one at a time. So Tina, you can take the first one.
Entertainment. These websites use videos, graphics, and living streaming to market their products or for entertainment. Many online games and video sites use Adobe Flash software to display content, so sometimes people call entertainment sites Flash websites. Some examples are YouTube, Netflix, sports sites, online games.
Good. So if you're designing entertainment website, you know you're going to need videos, you're going to need graphics, you're going to need live streaming, you're going to need software on the website that can allow you to play games. Basically, what is the purpose? What kind of entertainment are you giving these persons? Good. So it's going to have those aspects. Corporate now, Chazelle?
Corporate, also called a business website, which uses the website for marketing and not to conduct business. The website provides information to users about the company and can also provide customer support. Example, cxc.org and oup.com.
Very good. So a corporate website is basically for a business. That's why it's called a business website. And it is used for marketing. Does anybody know what that term means? Marketing?
Sir, basically advertisement.
Right, basically advertisement. So you're sharing information, advertising to persons so that they can learn about your business, what you're doing, and so on. So that's the purpose of their website, to share information, to educate persons about their business so that they know what they are about. Provide information to users about the company and also provide customer support. So for example, CXC website, OUP is a University of Oxford, I think. Good. Next we have shopping, Savitri.
These are e-commerce websites selling products. Users can browse and select products and pay online with methods such as a credit card or PayPal. Some examples are Amazon and eBay.
Good. Information, Celicia.
These websites provide users with
See if I can get
repository
the word.
no, of historical and current information, such as news as it happens around the world. Other websites provide information in the form of encyclopedias, training, or general education. Some examples: Wikipedia, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, Notesmaster, Caribbean 360.
Good. So this website here now, information website, is to provide information. So depending on what kind of information, but it's still information. So encyclopedias, training, education, and so on. Now, if it's training, if it's educational, they might have some videos on it to provide the information. But obviously, we're gonna already think about that for information websites. We're gonna think about text because when you go on Wikipedia, it is mostly text because that's how we get information today. But persons today, they prefer videos over text. So some of these sites you may see videos with the text inside of it, educating, sharing information, so on. Next, we have community building. Xavier.
Community building or social networking. These websites focus on the social interaction of people who want to communicate with others who share a common interest. Users share personal details, pictures, and events with friends, family, and acquaintances. Examples are Facebook, Instagram, Flickr, SoundCloud, and Twitter.
Good. So social networking websites or community building websites are websites that we're going to use to communicate with others, to form association, interests, collaboration with other persons. So it's going to need pictures, it's going to need videos, it's going to need a means to type information, and depending on the type of social media, it can be attractive or it can be plain. It depends on what is the purpose of it. Academic, Robert.
Academic or professional. Users share their resumes, portfolios, and career accomplishments online for potential employers and clients. For example, LinkedIn, Academia, ResearchGate.
Good. So an academic or professional site is one where you share your professional information with persons, and obviously that is a professional based website. So obviously that's going to be a lot different from a website that you might make for children. This website is going to be more professional, less variation in colors, more text, and more information base. Personal or blogs, Nicholas?
Personal websites are created and owned by individuals who share their personality, their personal profiles, and specific interests. These websites are web blogs or blogs, generally online diaries, journals, or editorials that reflect whatever is going on in the writer's life or business. The writer may even comment on politics or news or share personal opinions. Personal blogs, forums, video blogs.
Very good. So blogs, a site that we use to share information. A very common one, Reddit, that you guys should be familiar with. Mobile, Naresh.
Mobile. These websites are ideal for mobile devices and are often offered as an alternative to the normal version of a website when connecting with a mobile device. Their content is viewed better on narrow screen with and uses less data to display the information. Example, any website is created for viewing on mobile devices.
Now, this is something very important for you guys to remember. Very important. When you are creating a website, basically the same for applications also. When you are creating a website, you have to create it for basically the different screen sizes that exist. Now, desktops, basically, they usually have similar screen sizes, large screen sizes. So it's not too difficult to create websites for different laptop and desktop computers because they usually have around the same size of display. But When it comes time for a mobile device now, your phone, your tablet, or even your smartwatch, in order for you to view the content, the person who is creating that website needs to make a mobile version of that website so that the information can fit on your screen. Websites that you go on your phone and the information fits on your screen, they don't do that automatically. It's because the developer would have made a mobile version so that when you open that browser, it already detected that you're using a mobile device and it gives you the mobile version. If you go, if you look at the browser that you have in your phone, and if you click on the settings, you're going to see there's an option to give you the desktop site. And if you were to click on that, it will actually give you a much larger website than what you are accustomed to on your phone. And you would not even be able to basically use it because you're going to have to be zooming in to see all of the information. So say for instance, this was a website here. If it was to open on your device, it would open something like this here to fit on your screen. It's going to take up the screen, but it's going to be very tiny so that it's going to be practically unusable on that small device. So what developers have to do now is create a mobile version so that it can fit on those smaller displays. And then lastly, we have directories. Malik.
Directories. These websites are a type of online directory. Wait, These websites are a type of online directory. However, instead of searching alphabetically, users can search terms and phrases in search engines. Example, Yellow Pages, Google, and Bing.
Good. So no longer do we need that large book. No longer does GTT need to print that large directory book because we can go on websites that are built to host those information. So these are some types of websites that we have. Please remember them. Um, these are the categories of website: static, editable brochure, dynamic, e-commerce, web application. Those are the categories. But what are the types of websites that we have in use today? We have entertainment, for corporate, for shopping, for information, for social networking, academic or professional, blog, mobile, and directories. Please remember those categories and those types of websites and what are some examples of them. Good. Any questions before we continue? Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So we basically covered so far what is a website, what is a web page, how we create web pages, what are the different categories, what are the different types of web pages. So those are the basics and fundamentals of a web page. Now we're going to be getting into how do we design a web page? How do we plan for a web page? So to create a web page, the first thing we need to do is to plan. So how do we plan? Those two paragraphs. Mahima, can you read them for us? Planning to attention.
Planning your web pages. Your first task is to decide the purpose of your website. What do you want your website to do? This determines what content you are going to put on your web pages, how it will be organized, and how the pages are linked. Content. It is very important that the message of your website is presented in a manner that captures the attention of those who visit it. The initial screens should attract visitors' interest so that they know what to browse the site. The main screens and connecting web pages should supply enough information and maintain a visitor's interest enough to encourage repeat visits. The use of one or more combination of color, images, sound, video, and tone of language can capture or lose a visitor's attention.
Good. Good. So remember, we are planning now. How do we plan for our website? How do we plan for our web page? The first requirement, decide what is the purpose of your website. Why am I creating this website? Am I creating it for a children's party? Am I creating it for a teenagers party? Am I creating it for an adult party? Am I creating it for online games? Knowing what is your purpose will determine what you are putting onto the web page. What content do I need? Do I need text? Do I need images? Do I need animation? Do I need live streaming? Do I need games? That will determine all of that. So when you know what is the purpose, you will know what you have to put on the website. You will know how to organize the websites and how to connect the pages together. What page should basically be next to each other, what pages are related, and so on. For example, if you're making a shopping website and you're gonna have a catalog section, then the page that is gonna have your checkout should be close by, because once a person is on their catalog or even on the home page, they're always going to want to check their checkouts or their carts. So that's a page that needs to be always close by. So knowing what's the purpose, knowing what you're putting on your website, that will help you to know what pages need to be linked to each other or close by, so that you have a smooth flow with your web page. Now, the breakdown of what's on your web page, that's going to be content, organized, that's going to be covered in organization, and how pages are linked, that's going to be navigation. So we're going to look at content first now. Now, as mentioned, depending on the purpose of your web page, that will determine what content you are putting on your website. If you're making a website for yourself to advertise yourself as a professional, then you're going to be putting text. You might put a picture of yourself. You might put a picture of your work. If you're a carpenter, you're going to take out some pictures of all the works that you would have done, put up those pictures, put up a list of details of all of the things that you can make. I can make a chair, I can make a table. So that is your content, what you are putting on the website. And how you position the content can either attract persons to your website or detract them from your website. So have you guys ever went to a website and you said it how it's so ugly that you don't want to use it anymore, or you don't want to go in it anymore? And if you ever experienced that?
No.
Or it's so poor that you don't want to use it and you look for something alternative. So I think it happened to me a few times, but that just comes back to a poor design of websites. So since you guys haven't come across that, it basically means websites are actually doing a good job when it comes to designing, because they are keeping you there on that website. And once they're doing that, it means that the design is working. It is attracting you and it is keeping you on that web page. Good. So when you are designing your web page now, you need um, that same appeal. You need to position your content in such a way that it would attract persons. So it's like if you're creating a flyer and the flyer is going to have information on it, then you need to position the picture, the text in such a way that it attracts person, that it doesn't look like everything is just cluttered, everything is just grouped together, and it's just one big mess. It needs to be neat, it needs to be professional to attract persons. So that's the one main aspect you need to have when it comes to your content. Position it in such a way that it captures the attention of your audience. So what that means is that the initial screens of your website, you need to focus on those screens the most. Anybody know what is meant by the initial screen? Anybody have an idea? You want to make
Like the home, the home page.
the home page? Yes, that is correct. The home page. Home page is one of the first page you go to when you are entering a website. That is always the first page. Unless you would have been given a link to another part of the web page or you bookmarked another part of the web page, then obviously you would appear on another part of the website. But if you're going to the website for the first time, then most times you're going to be going to the home page. And that initial screen is where you can make or break your website. You can either attract your visitors or detract them or reject them. What's the word I'm looking for? Repel? Something along that line. Whenever I find an appropriate word, I'll use it. So you can make them not want to view your website or stay on your website because that homepage is not appealing to them. Too much things moving, too much colors flashing on the screen, the colors too bright, all of that can detract persons from your website. So that initial screen, you need to position it in such a way that it attracts persons. So the main screens now, which is going to be that home page, you need to determine how it's going to connect to other pages. So like I mentioned that shopping website earlier. If you're on a catalog page, then obviously the person going to want to see their cart. So that needs to be very close by so that they can access it at any time they want. If they're in the catalog also, the search option or the search page should be relatively close by also because they're going to need to use that also. So those are things you need to plan for when you are positioning your content. So you need to be careful with how you're mixing colors, how you're mixing images, how you're using sound, how you're using video, the language of your how you're writing your paragraphs on the website, and even how persons are commenting or writing on your website. Those are things that you all need to be careful of when it comes to the content on your web page. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So the first stage in planning is your content. That's your first stage there. What am I putting on my website? And you have to ensure you put it in such a way it attracts person. That's the nutshell there. So organization now. How do we organize our websites? Madison, could you read that for us?
Organization.
Web pages should be well organized, with information arranged in categories and subcategories. This helps the user to browse through information in a sequential and logical manner, so that interesting subtopics can be selected for further reading. You should therefore sketch how the various web pages relate to each other and how you would want your website visitors to view the content on each web page.
Very good. So here's a question. Um, you're going on a website, and the website is about movies. And if you were to search for a movie, you're looking for a movie, what do you expect this website to do? You're going on a website that has movies and you want to search for movies. What do you expect this website to do in terms of organizing? Yes, Narish.
Like there's different genres that it could be categorized in, and like movie like alphabetical or date of release.
Very good, very good. That is exactly it. So that there is the category. You need to know how are you going to organize the content now. So if you're a website about movies, how can you organize movies? Well, you organize by genre, you organize by date of release, you can organize alphabetically, different ways you can organize the data, different ways you can organize the content. So that's one example there. Now, if it's a shopping website, same thing also. You can organize based on location, organize based on the different types of items that you're selling, hardware items, kitchen items, bathroom items. You guys get the idea. Whatever you're putting on the website, the pages, the content, it must be organized in a logical manner. So you need to think of basically like what is the overall um, what is the overall category, what's the overall containers, and then what fits under it. So for example now, if you're a plant shop, you're a plant website, you're making a website for plants, you're selling plants, then you're gonna have different categories for the different types of plants. So you're gonna have plants, and then maybe you might have trees in case you're selling trees. So under plants, you might have fruit plants, and then you might have vegetables, and then you might have flowers, flower plants. So ignore this tree for now. And then under that now, you could branch off now. Under the fruits, I'm going to have cashew, I'm going to have cherry. Under the vegetable, I'm going to have pumpkin. Under the that, I'm going to have okra. Under the flower, I'm going to have lily, and so on. You guys get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you need to plan how are you organizing the content. What is the general category? What are the subcategories, and so on, so that your information, your content is in such a way that a person can easily navigate throughout your website and find what they are looking for. So I'm sure that if Netflix didn't had those options to search by categories, to search by genre, to search alphabetically, to search by the year of release, would you guys still be using Netflix? I really.
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
So it would have made it a lot harder to use Netflix. So you would have find something much easier, because when you want to watch a horror movie, you got to go through the entire list, and then you got to know which one's a horror movie. That's going to take up time. That's a poor website design. So you need to know how you're going to organize the content to attract persons to your website, so that persons are interested in using your website. So that is the organization part. You have the content that you're going to put, but you need to organize that content now. Put it into categories, subcategories, and so on. Let me see if there's anything I missed. Good. So when you're planning, you can actually do something like what I just did here. That's how you can plan to get your categories. You can write down what's the main category and what content falls under those different categories. So navigation now. How do persons navigate a website now? Or how do we connect our pages together now? So Latrell, you could read that for us. Latrell, are you there? We don't have a Latrell. Kafensi?
Navigational links. Navigation. Navigational links can include pull-down and pop-up menus or hyperlinks to other pages or documents. Any visitor to a website should be able to move through the main categories or pages in a logical manner or go directly to an area of interest. Hyperlinks are used to connect web pages to other web pages or locations within the same web page or external documents. Other navigational links are breadcrumbs, which are seen in a single line below the web page header. Breadcrumbs show the path a visitor should have taken to access the current page, with each one being a subcategory of the one before it. An example of a breadcrumb or breadcrumb trail is home, plants, potted, flowers. The visitor can go directly to any of the pages in the breadcrumb by clicking on the hyperlinks in it, including home, which will take them back to the opening screen or main web page. Another useful set of links websites can provide are those to other websites that are related to your website's content. Figure 6.1 shows the address of URL of a particular web page, also called the path.
Very good. So, navigation. How do we get persons to navigate our website? How do we get them to do so effectively? Well, we use something called navigational links. Now, these navigational links can be pull-down menus or pop-up menus. They're basically menus. So if we go to cxe.org, any day now. Any day now. Am I on the right website? No, I think it's cxe.com. I think. No? Yeah, cxe.org. Either way, anyway, what I'm looking for is these links that you're seeing at the top here. These are navigational links. So notice this is the home page. I'm clicking on this logo here. Most web pages, when you click on this logo, it takes you to the home page. And the different pages on the websites are usually in the navigational links. So if I click on examination, I'm going to click on examination tape. Did the navigational links go away? Did the navigational links go away even though I changed the page?
No, sir.
No. It's still there at the top. So that is the purpose of the navigational link. so that you can navigate a website. So it does not matter where you are. Even if I click on About Us and I go to About CXC, the navigational links are still at the top here. That is the purpose of the navigational links, to navigate the website. So it doesn't matter where you are on the website, you can go to any other parts of the website through these navigational links. Now these are drop down menus, because obviously they are dropping down there. So a pop-up menu is going to be when you right click and it pops up anywhere. Good. So those menus, they can take you to different parts of the pages, documents. They're also, a navigational link is also a hyperlink, but just that it's given that name of navigational link because it allows you to navigate the web page. Good. So hyperlink, that's a term you need to take note of. Hyperlink allows you to connect to other web pages or to a location on the same web page. So three things: either to another web page, to the same page, or to an external document. So that means you can download a file, download a document, or so on. So hyperlink can take you to another web page entirely or another part of the same page. So if I clicked one of these, it might have scrolled down and took me to another part of the same page, or it can allow me to download something else. The next part is a bit technical. Alright, let me stop here for today, and because I don't want to go ahead and then you guys lose what I'm about to take. This part is a bit technical here. So in revision of what we looked at this week, remember there are categories of web pages: static, editable brochure, dynamic e-commerce, web application, and these are the types of websites that you can have: mobile, information, entertainment, and so on. When you're creating a website, you always need to think about, what is the purpose of this website? What am I creating it for? And that sets the tone for the content. So when we are planning, we need to ensure we have the right content for the right audience. We have pictures, we have images, whatever the case may be, and it's for the right person. And we looked at organization, how we organize the content. We're going to review these three parts again next week to refresh on it. Do you guys have any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Alright, so if you guys don't have any questions, no concerns or anything, that is the end of today's class. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, sir.
Alright, sorry.